All right, let's talk a little micro racing. Let's go to the phone right now and bring on Mike Parker from KC Raceway. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Well, we're good. Did you get it all in last night?
We did. We did. We finished right at 1 o'clock. So pretty late night, but we got it all in and got it done.
Yeah, good, good. Well, it's a new world for you down there at KC Raceway this year. I know I had a chance to meet you and your wife. Just great people, I've been telling everybody, and we're really wrapped up in the micro world with our involvement with the Lucas Oil Tulsa Shootout, and we're really excited to hear that you guys were going to go micro racing this year. Tell everybody how big of an undertaking it was to make your track big enough and suit the micros, because I know that you've been really working hard down there.
Yeah, I guess we probably started second week of November, and we didn't work 7 days, all but 2 weeks from then to now to get it ready. But it was a pretty big deal. We were a flat go-kart track, about 1/8, and we expanded it to 1/5. And to do the banking, we had the option of obviously raising the outside of the track or digging out the inside of the track. And we chose to dig out the inside of the track and found out that we had Paseo Bridge and I-70 Bridge and all of the old concrete down in there. We didn't think it was we thought it was a lot deeper than what it was, but we had our work cut out for us once we broke ground, and at that point it was too late to turn back.
Yeah, that's up on a hill, isn't it, where they've put a lot of rock down. I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think a lot of people. Do you think that helps you? Because if I remember right, last year, you might be the only track that didn't cancel a race last year because of rain. Do you think that helps you with your draining up there, sitting up on top of that rock a little bit?
Well, I don't know that that helps us as much as our drains help us.
I see.
We put in drains. First year I didn't have drains, and we learned real quick that gumbo don't like to dry out too much. It likes to stay wet. So we immediately put in drains for season 2 and switched everything over to clay. And I kind of really contribute everything to that. We got really good drains where a lot of tracks you go to, you might just see like a 4-inch pipe in the middle that might daylight out somewhere. And we actually have drains that drain everything completely off the track, of course, unless we have little puddles here and there. But we don't deal with too much standing water in the field or on the track, which I contribute that to more than anything. When we rebuilt this year, one of my biggest worries was let's get the drains right again, because it took us a while to get the drains right. We're not engineers.
Yeah.
It took us a while to get the drains right, and once we did, that's the reason why we say we did have one rain out last year, where most tracks didn't get the race at all hardly in the first month or two. We had one rain out, and we actually canceled it prior to the race, which is very rare for us to do. But it rained all day Saturday, so it was the right call, and it was the only rain out we had the entire season.
Yeah,
so, we pride ourselves in not having too many rainouts.
You mentioned it was a 5th mile. Oh, by the way, the Tulsa Expo Center, when they have the Tulsa Shootout and the Chili Bowl's a 5th mile. Is it anything close to the configuration of the Chili Bowl?
It's not too far off. It's wider. The Tulsa, when I went down there, kind of walked that track off. They have longer straightaways than what we have, so it was. We're definitely wider. That place is definitely longer, but it's in a pretty good resemblance to that. I figured if you had to compare it to one, that would be the one to compare it to. We're slightly banked where they were more flat, but that's a pretty good comparison to say that if you ran good at the Tulsa Shootout, you probably had good luck running at our track.
Let's talk about where KC Raceway is. We didn't tell people where it's located. It's right north of the Missouri River, east of 291. So just a very easy location to try to find. And that is a location that draws from a lot of different areas, Mike. Just kind of talk about the location is really a benefit to you, is it not?
How many people wanted to build a racetrack in River Bend? Right?
Yeah, I guess probably I didn't know that until after it started. I didn't know that was kind of the grounds for other possible breeding places. When I set out to build a go-kart track 7 years ago, it was I had just gotten into dirt racing the last 2 weekends of Thunder Lake, And darn the luck that they closed down, and I'm stuck here with all these brand new go-karts and nowhere to race. So we worked hard with a few locals to try to get that Thunder Lake going back again. And when it couldn't open, I said, well, maybe this is our opportunity. At that point, I kind of operated an asphalt track up there in Liberty, and so I had the experience of racing and promoting a track, just not anything to do with dirt. So I learned quite a bit with the dirt cars and what they needed. And I just set out to buy land. And, to be honest, if the people down the street would have sold it to me, I would have bought it. If the people up north would, we would have put it anywhere. We just wanted a track. And Lord behold, I found that place over there and got in good with them and did all the appropriate things to get what we needed to get to be approved. And it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because it's it's back in the industrial area there. We don't get bothered too much, and not a lot of residents to have to deal with when it comes to noise either.
That I've been going up there watching that racetrack in Liberty since I was a kid. How many years has that track been up there?
Well, we were hitting the 50 mark when I was running it, so I would say it's right around 52, 53, maybe even 54 at this point.
Yeah, up behind William Jewell, right off of H Highway, right? Yeah, great place up there.
How did things go last night? You mentioned got done about 1 o'clock in the morning. How many cars did you end up last night?
I believe the total count was 83, which it's not too bad. I kind of. I got asked quite a few times, was I overwhelmed by how many we got? And the answer is no. I expect to have a bunch of cars. What I got overwhelmed with a little bit was our parking situation with the bigger trucks and trailers. I know that they were coming, but they came a little early, and we kind of got some parking off started. I had ran to get more food because we started getting phone calls that Fort City rained out, Ozarks rained out, we're coming your way. So I thought, oh my, we don't have enough food. And so as I go to do the food run, I come back and we got people parked, in wrong places, and that kind of set the tone for.
You there, Mike?
About 21 additional pit spots before we went into our overflow, and we didn't have to go into the overflow for the trailers. And it was a good thing because the fans and the extras that came with the trucks and trailers used that part. So we got to do a better job at parking, but that was what I was overwhelmed about more than anything.
Well, as you know, Mike, if you let the inmates run the asylum, they'll mess it up.
Yeah, I got to say that we could do a better job on that end, but we can get more in there and make it a more comfortable deal for everybody as well.
Yep. Next week, I know the Lucas Oil Now 600 Terry Maddox Series is coming to there. That's a big deal, man. I mean, They had 153 cars last week down at Creek County for their race, and a great turnout, great action on the racetrack. Looking forward to the Lucas Oil Now 600 Series coming to KC Raceway.
I am. I really am. They were supposed to be the first race of our season, which I told Terry. Terry and I have actually become pretty close. He's helping us out a lot with race pass and whatnot as we're trying to learn that program. So I was talking to Terry, and I'm like, I just wish this race was not our first race. We've never ran a micro race. And, you'll do fine, and we'll help you out. And so with the confidence of knowing Terry's background and that he'll help us out, we went ahead and decided to go ahead and do it for opening day. Well, obviously the COVID took that out of the winnings, and we just wanted one race. That's all I asked for, was one race to make sure that the track could handle not only the cars but passing, make sure it was going to be racy. You can have all the practices you want, but playing the game is a whole lot different than practice.
Yeah. Did you learn anything last night with your track prep with the first race?
We had went all week long without putting a drop of water on it because obviously there was a threat of rain every single day. Never got a drop until I guess it was Thursday night overnight, and I think it was about a little over 2 inches that got dumped on us. So even with that, we still had to water the track before. I think I watered it 4 times before we raced. Had I not watered it the 4th time, I think it would have been a perfect track. A little heavy, but that last time I watered it was about 6:30. so it really didn't soak in as good as it did the rest of the day when I took the water truck out. So I did learn a little bit about that I'd rather get them out there to roll that in prior to putting that final water in on it if it needs it. So other than that, track prep's what we do. We run go-karts and they're 2 inches off the ground. The track's got to be as smooth as possible. It's got to be hard. It's got to be, it's got to be racy. So we got that, but like I told the guys in the drivers meeting, let me know what you need as I learn this. And didn't have any guys at all coming up to me complaining about the track surface or anything. So I feel like we did pretty good, and I feel like our next challenge, as you know, will be how to have helmet lit during 90 and 80-degree days because, a cloudy day, it's not too hard to do a track, but on a 100-degree day, it gets pretty difficult. So to say that we have it down is an understatement. We have a lot to learn in that.
Yeah.
All right, about the, knowing about everything that's gone on with this virus and everything, what are the procedures that you've taken at your racetrack? I know you're letting fans in to watch, but just what are some of the precautions fans want to come out and take a look at what's going on that you're doing to mitigate everything?
Well, I just we got on the microphone a lot. We talked about the social distancing. I know Greg Clemens, he was running the microphone last night, and I don't think he went 5 minutes without talking about it. We've got quite a bit of sanitizer out there. Of course, all the concession stand workers are, gloved up and taking care of that deal. But, it's one of those things where you just got to use common sense and do your best to kind of control it, make sure, if you're sick, stay at home and whatnot. But we just asked everybody to use some social distancing. That probably was about successful as the rest of the tracks that opened this past weekend. So a little tough to do, but I think that for the most part, everybody that I came across that seemed good, happy, healthy. But all we could do is ask for people to use common sense on that deal.
It's a tough time, isn't it, man? You just sit here, you think about all the investment you made making this track and doing all the due diligence to make it successful on opening night, and then you have this coronavirus coming along. It's really got to be a tough spot. I know it is for our company. I can't imagine having a piece of property with a racetrack on it and the things that you have to think about to work through this process.
Yeah, and the financial part of it has been pretty draining. To build this, basically we built it from scratch again. Because we destroyed the last one. So we didn't expect this, obviously, like no other company out there. And to go a month off of our projected revenue and not to have that has definitely hurt. And it's affected us from getting, the few things left that we need to get. But hopefully, with the governor opening up the state and everybody else starting to relax just a little bit, hopefully the powers that be keep things going in the right direction and we can get a good rest of the season in.
We have another micro track, and we love those guys over at Sweet Springs. They've been good to us, and we've done some broadcast over there over the years. You're on Friday night. They run on Saturday night. Have you guys talked about trying to do some co-sanctioning, working together in this industry? It seems like we need to work together a little bit. Has there been a little bit of communication with Sweet Springs yet?
I've talked to Paul a few times. So anytime I've reached out to Paul, he's been great. He's answered. I think he'd say the same about me. We wanted to make sure that we kept our rules somewhat close. That way, obviously we can draw the cars on both tracks without them having to make a bunch of changes.
Right.
So on that aspect, we've worked together well. As far as, working together as far as scheduling and maybe a series or a Friday here and a Saturday there, a big money show or something. We haven't gotten to those talks yet, and I think we just needed to get some racing under our belt. Anytime that you have a new track, and this year we're the new track, you want to make sure that new track can get it together before you start doing stuff, talks like that. So those talks will probably come in the future now. I'm sure Paul and I and some of the guys on the Sweet Springs board will catch wind that, we did it. We did well at it, and we're going to continue to do well at it. And now I don't think that those guys would be afraid to say, well, let's do some sort of a mini series or something. But when you're the new dog, you got to sit back and just kind of wait and prove yourself, and that's kind of the phase that we're in now.
Yeah.
And Sweet Springs is open for tonight. They're planning on running tonight.
They are?
Sweet
Okay,
Springs,
good. All right, so if anybody doesn't know where KC Raceway is, we said it's in River Bend. It's basically down near 291 and 210. You're just a little bit south of 291 and 210. You will have to enter the road to go into the complex on the east side of 210 Highway, correct?
Yes, that's right. So basically, if you're going north, and once you pass that Missouri River and you see that river on left and right side of you, we're the immediate right. So throw a plug out there. If you just type in KC Raceway or Metro Asphalt, one of our great sponsors, then your maps will take you directly there. Modern day, you don't even have to say east or west anymore. So,
yeah.
But you definitely take that first right past the Missouri Bridge, and then you take an immediate right to get kind of on the outer road. And once you're there, we are all the way in the back at the dead end. You can't miss us. We're red and white.
Yeah, let me ask you. I should have asked you this in the beginning of this interview. Why did you choose to make the move towards the micros? I know that you had a successful kart program. Why did you decide to kind of move in that direction?
Well, just for the love of the sport, the love of racing in general. I don't know a lot about the micros. I've learned more since I learned more since the Tulsa Shootout than I can say I knew about them all along. And in fact, I've only been to a couple micro races, and I tell all drivers, openly that, hey, I'm learning every day. I'm going to learn, but to promote it and run a racetrack, we got that handled pretty well. So why did we decide to do it? I think the main reason is just for the love of the sport. We just couldn't get enough, and you can only have so many go-kart races. I think we ended up with about 16, 17 of those. And obviously, from the financial point of it, it's hard to run a racetrack with only 16 or 17 races per year. Although we were pretty successful at it for 5 years with the go-karts, we knew that there needed to be another revenue stream to keep things going. And this was the next best thing that we could come up with. And I'm really happy and glad that we chose to do that. And I think that we got a bright future.
We've looked at a lot of pictures of your racetrack and the upgrades that you've done to the facility, and I love it. It's down right by the river. It kind of reminds me of the old Riverside days, just a little bit, because that's where I grew up back in the day. So it's pretty cool. I love what's going on down there. I'm really excited about the micro racing that's coming to KC Raceway. We're looking forward to doing some broadcasts down there and maybe some audio broadcasts weekly down there too. So, Mike, good luck to you, man. We are really pulling for you. And thank you for getting involved in micro racing. I know I can say that for all the people that race around here that have micros. There's never enough options when it comes to micro racing. So thanks so much for doing that, and looking forward to seeing a lot of success down there at KC Raceway.
Well, I appreciate that, and the thanks goes in return to all the racers. Without them, there's no us. So
no doubt.
I do my best to make sure I make rounds and personally thank everybody last night for coming out. And I know there's a few that I missed, but we're not here without them. Obviously, we can't keep everybody happy, but I'd rather you be mad that we followed the rule and versus not. So we're going to do our best to keep everybody happy and follow the rule book the best we can.
It's a tough assignment trying to make everybody happy, Mike, right?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
You can't do it, so you got to do the next best thing. And just, I think at the end of the day, even the guy that got mad will appreciate he followed the rule book.
Yeah. All right, Mike. Thanks so much for taking the time. We'll be talking to you more down the road. Congratulations on the success last night. Looking forward to next week's Lucas Oil Now 600 race that's going to be down there. 2-day show, Friday and Saturday. It should be a barn burner of a show. A lot of great micro racers will be traveling in. It's going to be a good one. Mike, thanks so much. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, Mike. And we were planning on doing an event over Easter weekend, 2-night show. That was on the schedule from the very beginning. And, of course, the COVID-19 put a stop
Changed
to that.
all that.
But we're happy to be out there next weekend, and it's going to be fun to see the same. You're going to see a lot of the same stars you saw last weekend come up here.
I can't wait.
Trip up to KC Raceway.
I cannot wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, we're going to take our final break for hour number 1. We'll be back with more of Track Talk, brought to you by Lucas Oil Products in a moment. Stay tuned.
Track Talk